Constructing your life is about much more than just building a bank account. Each week, join real estate entrepreneur and mindset coach Austin Linney as he interviews guests who are constructing their dream lives and impacting the world around them on a daily basis. If you're an entrepreneur or wanting to start a business, or you just want to hear motivating stories of how others have overcome the odds, you are in the right place. And now for your host, Austin Linney.
Guys, welcome back to the Brain Dump. We've got my co-host, as always, Mr. Anthony in the house. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing fantastic. How you doing?
Doing good. Man, we are going to talk about, I don't know if there's a hotter topic in the entrepreneur social media space, because guys, we have to whisper, because if we talk about it too much, the hustle porn stars might be mad at us. And we're going to talk about this thing called rest and recovery.
Those hustle porn stars are going to come and get us, and they're going to beat us with all their hustle. And we're just going to be resting, and we're going to be undefended. Like, how do we defend ourselves when we're over here just in a state of recovery?
They're going to get us on a Sunday too, when we're trying to enjoy a moment outside.
That's a day of rest. My God. Okay, so let's lay the foundation here. People at home are probably like, "What are these guys talking about?" So first and foremost, let's talk about hustle porn. What is that? Because for some people, maybe it's the first time you're ever hearing that term. Hustle porn is just like, and I'm guilty of going down this rabbit hole myself, of wanting to feel motivated, feeling motivated or inspired. It feels really good. It releases dopamine. And so like, guys like Gary Vee or Tony Robbins, or like all these motivational quotes that you see online, or motivational videos with all like the really epic music in the background, or just even on a really subtle level, people talking on like LinkedIn or Facebook about how they woke up at 4 a.m. and they're going to go and lift an elephant and then meditate for 3 hours. And it's like, and then they're going to go work for the next 28 hours straight. And so it's just like this culture of more, rise and grind, baby. Like, go get it. If you're not bleeding from the eyeballs, and do you really want it badly enough? Like, you're not trying hard, and somebody is going to outwork you. And listen, I'm just as guilty as the next guy of this. Like, I like working hard. I like putting myself into the process, but it's not sustainable. It's not healthy. And it's not a realistic expectation to set for yourself or for others.
Not only is it not, what's funny? This is so appropriate. So we've got a recovery group where we teach people who are recovering addicts, who are in the real estate space, entrepreneurship space, tactics. We meet every week. There's this dude, man, working out every day, crushing it, getting up at 4 a.m., working till 9 o'clock at night. I mean, he is like, dude, for like a month straight, he texts me this thing. He DM me this thing. Hey, I got one question for you. Number one question I have for you. How do I keep this up? And my response was simple. You don't. And he goes, what do you mean you don't? I said, you don't. It doesn't work that way. But what I have conditioned myself to understand is that life is in seasons. And I know when I need that month, and I might slide off the pedal just a bit. And then I know when I'm feeling that momentum, or I might feel that hot. And I think you have to understand that's why I front load my schedule in the week, and Friday is just a wild card day. That's why we're recording today, because I didn't have anything else going on, and I've got meetings in the afternoon. And for me, that works. And I think what we're really harping on, right? And we'll get into the deeper levels of this, but I think what we're harping on the most way is don't live your life based off of what somebody else is telling you should be doing. Find the schedule or the workability, that works for you. Because here's the issue. There's a million books out there, Miracle Morning. Well, guess what? There's a lot of people that like to work at night. Like, so should they not do that? No, you have to. This is all about tweaking and finding and mind hacking yourself to realize what you need, and then diving deeper into the things that give you energy.
Absolutely. I think it's a really common thread in entrepreneur land or athletics or wherever you're coming from, this idea of like waking up really early. If you go and Google like behaviors of top CEOs and billionaires, it's always like they wake up at 3 a.m. and they are just going. And listen, I'm not a morning guy. I've trained myself and conditioned myself over the years to wake up fairly early now, but it's not my natural state. It's not what I enjoy doing. It is not for everybody. Like, if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, should I be waking up early? Maybe not. The real benefit of like waking up and starting your day and doing, having this period of time uninterrupted is just that. It's uninterrupted time. It's not about there's magic at 5 a.m. Like you need to be waking up because of whatever reason. It's just that there tends to be uninterrupted time to be able to focus and work. So understand, like as Austin's pointing out, it's different for everybody. Your cycle, you have to understand that. And that's, I think what we're going to try and help unpack a little bit here today is like what levers to be looking for, what you can pull to help maximize your rest. I think step one though, Austin, the most important step is giving yourself permission to rest. I'm guilty of this. I feel a deep unease and guilt and just discontent. I feel uneasy when I'm not working. When I go on vacation, I have a really hard time just relaxing and being present because I'm constantly thinking about all the things I could be doing, all the things I could be working on. Do you ever find yourself going down that lane?
Just did it.
Yeah.
Just did it. Just went to Costa Rica. Maybe a little too long for me. I think I'm a 4-day, 3-night or like a month guy. There's no in between. And when I go for a month or 2 weeks, it takes me 10 days to relax. And then on the 10th day, 11th day, I feel great. And then it's time to leave. It's typically how it works for me. But what's interesting, my girlfriend admitted that she has seen me happier since I've got back because I've been working and stuff. So the way that my mind operates, or the way that I grew up, just from what my parents taught me, is that a good day's work made a beer taste good. Like that's what that's a weird guy to say that who's in recovery. But the idea of that is everything tastes sweeter when you put in the work. So I think really the question that we're asking, because I have this same issue, the question that I pose to you, Anthony, is could you set yourself up a system where leading up to a vacation, you put on your list the list of important things to do. And if you were to finish all those things before you left, do you think that would create as a marker for you to feel more content going into that vacation? If you were to set up a 2-week schedule leading up to it, like I heard something that in a book today, it's a very interesting concept of knowing
I like that idea. I think I would struggle. I think it could create some issues for me. One is leading up to the vacation. I think I'd become very stressed and really fixated on getting those things done. And then one, if I don't get them done and I go on vacation, that's going to be a real crapshoot, right? Yeah. And then two, maybe I do get everything done, but there's never done. Right. In this world, there's never done. You can always find another thing to do. As soon as you tick one off, it's like a Hydra, 3 more kind of pops back up. So I don't know if that would work for me. What might work, and something I utilized when I was a professional athlete, is like, one is understanding like the way that our bodies actually adapt and grow stronger is through that rest and recovery period, right? It's not when you're in the gym lifting the muscles and doing all the jazzercising that you're getting stronger. It's when you go and you rest and you sleep and you recover. That's when the muscles are being rebuilt. And so what I did was I took my rest and recovery period just as seriously and got it just as dialed in and had a process for it in the same way that I did when I went to the gym. So that as I'm going through my resting process, I get to check boxes and be like, oh, I'm doing this and I'm doing that and I'm doing this thing. And so that might work well for me actually on vacation, is if I go into it and I say, these are the check boxes that I need to tick to show that I'm resting fully. And so those check boxes might be things like, don't check your email, put your phone on airplane mode for the entire day. And then I go into it and I say, that's important for resting. And I'm resting right now.
That's a game changer. That really does a lot for me, but it's an interesting topic because on Monday this week, I created a new morning routine, and I'm getting up at 4 now, opposed to 5. And don't get me wrong, there's been some mornings, man. It's that I don't know if I'm going to or I'm going to, and I've picked to go to.
I haven't fully committed to it. It sounds like
it's like that eye goes just to sleep one more time, and I'm like, ugh. No. But long story short, for me, bro, and I'm gonna be as vulnerable as I can be. My meditation practice and journal. I've never journaled a day in my life. Now I might journal in my mind, but I've never physically journaled. And so for 5 days in a row, I've meditated straight, and I've journaled, and I've stretched in the morning, which I never did. And because they're in my checklist now, I refuse to not do them because I'm that type of guy. And I feel like $1 million this week. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. I like to keep that stuff in my mind. And next week, I'm going to extend the meditation a little bit longer and a little bit longer. And I'm going to create those small wins. But man, I have been happy, joyful, more clear. Like yesterday, I had an 1.5-hour massage, which I meditate through the whole time. And man, I had a crazy week with a lot of meetings and a lot of big opportunities are coming up. And I felt really over my skis Thursday morning, like really over my skis. And as soon as I walked out of that massage, I was calm. And it was like that 1.5 hours just shut down with meditation music. And man, I feel like a different person today, just focused, locked in, more centered. And we as entrepreneurs play this game where we live right on the edge of that line, where my question to you is, are you more, what makes sense to you? The small wins, the daily habits, the winning the day, the taking care of yourself, or revving the Corvette to the red line. And then you hit the wall and then you're messed up for 3 weeks, right? Or is it better to just compound the small wins and take those days off and take that hour off and just, keep the oil in the car, keep the gas filled up, make sure there's water, washer fluid. Like that to me sounds more exciting than breaking the RPMs and having the motor drop out of the car.
Man, you went to a car analogy that I was just going to use, and I'm going to still use it, but just give me a second to kind of work over to that. First of all, let's debunk the myth right here, right now, forever and for always, that of like the 80 to 100 hour work week. Like that is not a thing that people can do sustainably. It's just not. You look at like Elon Musk and they're like, oh, he works 100 hours a week. He does not. And like, you look at like, he's breaking down and he's admitted, he's like, this isn't sustainable. You can't do your best, most creative, most engaging work when you're in a state of constant fatigue. It just, your quality decreases. And so first is recognizing that an ounce of, I don't know what the phrase is, an ounce of preparation saves a pound of heartache. I don't know. I'm just making up phrases now, but it's the idea that by putting in the time to prepare for the work, we can do better work. And one of the key levers that helps put us into the right place is resting and recovery. So it's like, here's my car analogy. If you're going to go on a car trip, you're going to drive from Minnesota all the way down to Austin, Texas, down to, from me down to you, it would be smart to spend a little bit of time preparing the vehicle, right? Putting some air in the tires, maybe checking the oil, maybe putting some windshield wiper fluid in there, maybe put some munchies in the back seat, like whatever. Get the car ready to go so that when you do get in the car, you can drive more likely safely and securely all the way down there without having any interruptions. It's the same with sleep. That's like preparing and priming your body to go back to war the next day. And I think if that's the mental shift that people can make is, hey, resting, it's important because it's helping get us back to fighting shape so that we can go hard tomorrow. Because it's much better to go at 100% for, 6 hours a day than to go at 60% for 10 hours a day. Like it's not even close.
So I was just listening to Michael Hyatt this morning on Bigger Pockets, and he was talking about Elon Musk, and Elon Musk readily admits that his kids do not like him. He's been through 2 marriages. It's not sustainable. And so Michael Hyatt, during the pandemic, during COVID, they tried out 30-day work weeks with the entire staff for a month. And then it lasted 2 months. And then it lasted 6 months. And now they're only on a 30-week schedule. And they've 4X their business, their production on the 30-hour work weeks. We have to look at our day and realize how much shit we fill up with BS or distractions or whatever, like deep work, Cal Newport. Like how much time are you actually spending in winning the day, getting the things done that you need to, off leveraging what you don't need to, and understand that my question to you is as simple as this. I'm doing something right now, and I won't tell anybody what it is because I'm doing this on purpose, because it was something that Rick said during one of our interviews that has stuck with me, and I'm doing it currently, and I will not share it even though I want to. I'm doing something right now that I will not post on social media. I will not post on Facebook. I will not tell anybody I'm doing it because I'm trying to see it for myself if I'm really doing certain things for myself. Mm. This is my big play with myself. Like how much of what I do, how much of what I put out there in the universe is driven by social accountability, by me being a coach, by me having to be a badass, by me being an entrepreneur. And I'm trying to decipher who I am as a person and who I feel like I need to be on social media. And I think that plays in the hustle rest material. Oh, Austin can't, everybody needs a picture of Austin at 4 a.m. walking. Like if I don't get that, then everybody's going to think I'm fucking lazy. Like that goes on in your mind, right? Yeah. And so we have to ask ourselves, like, who are we trying to prove it to? Ourselves or other people?
One of the things I've started thinking about in the last couple of weeks that I want to be known for is I want people to look at me and be like, man, that guy, he rests like a mofo. That guy, like Austin, he works hard, but Anthony, that guy rests hard, but they don't say it in a way where it's like he's lazy, because that's not what we're talking about here. We're not talking about being lazy. Yeah. We're talking about putting in the time and energy to maximize our recovery so that when we're in the game, we're untouchable. We're at our peak state. We're operating at our highest levels and we're getting really good work done as a consequence. So maybe let's take this and get a little bit more tactical, a little bit into the weeds about like, how can we actually accelerate our rest, our recovery? How can we get the most out of it?
I love what you said about putting it in the schedule. I think that's a game changer. The second thing is spending, as they would say, like, if I'm going to cut down a tree, I'm going to sharpen the axe for the first 3 hours. Yeah. We need to look at our schedule and realize, let's say you have a week that's very busy. And let's say that like 3 of those meetings are not immediate 911 meetings. Then simply ask those people that you're meeting with, hey, do you mind if we move this to another week when I'm not as busy? And understand that don't feel obligated to make every meeting. And something that I've worked on, has took me almost 36 years to realize. I will straight up ask, and I don't do this like the minute before, but if like 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours before, if I'm not feeling up to it, I will ask to move the meeting. That is like one of the biggest things, because me not showing up as the best version of myself doesn't do anything for you on the other side of that. And just showing up to show up. And so you have to ask, as my mentor would say, how many things on your schedule are dirty yeses? How many things on your schedule are dirty yeses, Matty A? How many things on your schedule are you doing that is not a fuck yeah, yes? And I would imagine that there's a ton.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. What's the dirty S? Did I miss what the S stands for?
Dirty yes. Pardon me. Dirty yes. So, okay. So how many things have you said yes to on your calendar?
Oh, yes. Okay. Pardon me. I'm hearing S, like the word, like the letter S.
How many things have you said to on your calendar that are yeses that you don't truly, that aren't moving you forward, or you feel obligated? Yep. And he said, once you clear those up and get real clear with your boundaries, right? And creating that space like, hey, I'm done at 5:00, no matter what. Like, and you know what? If it's got to wait till next week, it's got to wait till next week. Just getting extremely, extremely, very particular with your time and protecting it. Because I treated everything like, let's say you have a jar of energy every morning and you can only open the jar 10 times or you would fall down asleep. Like, wouldn't you really protect that 10 times that you pull it out? Mm-hmm. I think we need to look at our day like that.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. I love the idea of treating rest like a to-do. So maybe that's tactical step number 1 for you guys and gals listening at home is let's look at our schedule. And if you're time blocking like I do, I think Austin, do you time block as well?
I do, yes.
Yeah. So we're scheduling out our day the day before. We're saying, hey, this is what I'm doing when I'm doing it. I want you to put rest on there for at least an hour a day. And it can be in the middle of the day. And because honestly, guys, like you have to understand the biology of a human and how we're designed to operate in this world. Like we're a squishy machine made of blood and bones, right? And if you can understand how we work, it's going to be all for the better. So first of all is understand what's called ultradian rhythms. So every single day when you wake up, your ultradian rhythm starts. And what that means is, and we focus and we go into these periods of rest and recovery every 90 minutes. So for every 90 minutes, you go into this peak state and then you come out of it into a 90-minute rest and recovery phase. And it just happens all throughout the day. And it syncs up with our circadian rhythm, which is on a 24-hour window. What tends to happen is at about midday, around 1 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it usually correlates with eating lunch because we're going into a digestive state. We get tired. We're not as focused. We're not as clear. We get a little bit foggy. And so that's a really great time to think about what are the levers that you could pull in your day to help reset and rejuvenate. So here's a couple things you can do. One, take a nap. Like, give yourself permission, first of all, to go take a nap and be okay with that. Some people aren't great nappers. They come out of it really cranky. Your goal here is not to be taking a long nap. You want to only take maybe 15 to 25 minutes. That's going to be a nice little refresher. If you're not a napper, then I recommend a practice called Yoga Nidra. And this is a guided relaxation exercise. You can go to YouTube, look it up, Yoga Nidra. They're going to guide you through how to progressively relax your body. It's very meditative, and you're going to feel really good coming out of it. And it's also going to be a helpful way to like reset your willpower as well. You can go and do a little bit of exercise, but the goal here is not to exhaust yourself. It's just to get those endorphins going, get the blood moving. And these are going to be ways to kind of like reboot in the middle of the day. But that only happens if you schedule it. If you don't schedule it and you just say, I'll fit it in when I can, then you're not treating it with the importance that it's due.
Well, you know what's interesting? And it's a proven fact. You read it. You have more beta waves available in your mind in the morning, right? I have more deep thoughts, more other things. So what I always do, and maybe I'm a morning person, my dad was, it's who I am. I really go heavy in the morning. I make sure I get all my workout in, all my meditation, all my thing, because I know after like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, my mind starts wandering. So if I have a let's say a big meeting, right? A big something I'm doing, like if it's not me talking to a group or anything, I never do a meeting past 4 o'clock. Can't do it. I know that about myself. Maybe I was in the restaurant business too long and 4 o'clock meant happy hour, but my mind starts to wondering. But if you catch me at 6 a.m., I had a business meeting the other morning at 6 a.m. with my business partner. And I was like spouting off stuff. And it was like, it didn't matter because I got up at 4. But I know that about myself. And so we're asking you, this whole episode is asking you to, what I think is the greatest thing is mind hack yourself. Like, figure out what you like, what works for you, experiment with a couple different things. That's what life is about. Understanding like, hey, maybe you do get the 10-minute nap, but you said something there that is, I think, the most important thing of this entire episode. And we've glazed over it a couple times, and then we'll get you out of here with this. Give yourself permission. Mm-hmm. That's the key, because these things that you have on your calendar, remember this very simple thing. It's a choice. It's all a choice. It's a choice for me and Anthony to be on this podcast, recording this for you. It's a choice for us to get on a meeting an hour from now. So your need and want to be so busy is probably predicated on childhood stress of you feeling like you're not good enough or you're not adequate. So dip into these feelings and understand that everything that you do, everything that you schedule, everything that you do in business is a choice for you to be out there. And so if it's your choice, then your week needs to look like you want it to look. It's as simple as that.
Yep. I think that's a perfect place to leave this. I want to just leave you guys with one final car analogy. Is I want you to, and this ties back to what Angelo was talking about when we had him on the show, is that you are a Ferrari. Mm-hmm. You can't leave your engine on 24 hours a day. You can't drive it through the mud and the muck and the snow and the salt and not take care of it and expect it to perform at its peak. And so treat yourself just like you would that very expensive exotic car. Get a car wash, fill up your tanks, take care of your tires, turn off the engine every now and then, because you are the vehicle carrying you through this world. And if you're not taking care of that body of yours, it's going to deteriorate and the quality of your life is going to as well. So hopefully this was helpful to you guys. I think there's just so much more here still to dig into that we'll probably have to do some follow-up episodes here in the future. But take this episode. Now go take a nap.
See you guys.
Thank you for listening to Construct Your Life with Austin Linney. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and pay it forward by sharing with a friend. Most importantly, take this opportunity to start constructing your life by taking immediate action on what you learned. For show notes, resources, and more information on one-on-one coaching with Austin, visit constructyourlifepodcast.com.